What's up, my Chaos crew? Here we go back in My Hero Ultra Rumble, and since we're in a cooldown period, I figured I can go give you guys another tier list. So if you haven't checked out my last tier list, is a character tier list. Be sure to go and check that out. Be sure to go ahead and link it somewhere on this video. But today we're doing a special tuning tier list. I made one for the last season. I want to make one for this season since this season is just about over. How many days we got? How many days left we got on here? I'm trying to see. 20. We got 20 days. We got 3 weeks. We got 3 weeks left. We get no more new content or anything like that. It'd be a perfect time for me to go ahead and make a special tuning tier list and, you know, give my thoughts on what I think the best tuning skills are and go from there. If you guys want more videos like this, be sure to smash that like button, the subscribe button, and those notification bells. With that being said, let's get into our tier list. Okay, so here we go. I just chose a random character. I chose Deku. Why not? That was the last character I was playing on. It would be perfect for me to go ahead and use him. They're gonna show off all these different tuning skills and give my thoughts on them. But for the lower tiers, I'll try to make it quick because I don't want to spend too much time on them. So we're gonna go ahead and start off in the D tier, which is where I have compresses. What's it called? Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of it. Compresses, yeah, his compression magic, that's in D tier. I have both Todoroki skills, which both tech and freaking, you know, strike. They're special tuning skills. Resist cold and resist heat, I believe the other one is called. I'm trying to see if I can find it real quick. Yep, resist heat. Next I have Denki's. Strike Denki specifically, so I should have just stayed in that slot and went straight to Denki. Yeah, his resist shock. And the last one I would say I have in here, I think is Yayorozu's skill, which is, yeah, battlefield analysis. So I have all these skills in D tier because realistically, they don't hold a whole ton of value, I feel like, in all the skills you use in your special tuning, you know, in your special tuning slots. What I would like to see for these skills, and I'm willing to make this argument for the next tier as well, I would like to see these skills get buffed in some form or fashion so that it encourages us to go ahead and use these skills. Because realistically, why would you use these skills over something like, you know, well, I guess Embrittlement or GP Sucker, for an example. These skills don't really bring a whole lot of value, or they're character specific, like Denki and Todoroki's, where one stops you from being shocked or stunned by, you know, by electricity. That only works for Denki. One stops you from being, you know, one gives you resistance to heat. That only works for, what, 3 characters of the game? And then the other one is resist ice, which is like that one only works for 1 character in the game. There's no real value out of it. So I would like to see them try to buff these skills in some type of way to make them more valuable. I think the most valuable one here out of this list is probably going to be between, funny enough, compression magic or battlefield analysis. I think those 2 skills are probably going to be the skills you get the most value out of in this tier. With that being said, let's get on over to our next tier, which is, you know, the C tier. In the C tier, I have President Mike's special tuning skill, which, let me see if I can find him real quick, in case you guys don't know it. Here he is. Yeah. Booming plus ultra voice stuns opponents around you with a booming sound when you use your plus ultra. Next I have is quasi permeation, I think it's called, which I should be able to see it right here. I hope I said that right. But yeah, quasi permeation, make you invincible at the start of the match. I have Froppy's ability as well in this tier. Camouflage makes you invisible for a set amount of time. Let me see. What was the last one? Right. Indestructible, which is Kirishima's. So right here, when you KO opponents, allow you to go ahead and resist flinching from opponents' attacks for a set amount of time. Make sure I get that out. So I have these skills here because I do think that they hold more value than, you know, the skills in the D tier, but I could see, you know, maybe making some slight improvements to these skills to make it where they could probably be pushed up or bumped up to B tier or A tier, at least in my opinion. One skill I mentioned in the past was Indestructible. Kirishima's Indestructible. Instead of it activating on KO, if it activated on down, I think that would easily bump that skill up. When it comes to Froppy's special tuning skill, I don't know if it does this. I have to test it out to see. If it gave a speed increase with, you know, with the invisibility, then I can see value in that. But I don't know if that's the case. You got please confirm that in the comments. I could be wrong about that. Let me see. Booming plus ultra voice. My real critique with that one is that skill buffs up the wrong thing, which we can look at them right here. I didn't mean to back out. I meant to tap details on President Mike. I feel like his bumps up the wrong thing. It says level up to increase effect time. That's only the deafening sound that you get from getting hit by the stun. I feel like the stun should get like an extra like second or two. I feel like to really make some value out of it. But that is just my opinion. So that's all the skills in C tier. Let's get on over to B tier. In B tier, I have all of the revenge skills. Revenge Strike, Revenge Tentacle, Revenge Rapid, Revenge Support, and Revenge Assault. I have them all here. And I also have Kurogiri's freaking, what is it, Warp Heal? Yep, Warp Heal. Can't remember the name of it exactly. And I also have in Strike Endeavor's special tuning skill, plus Ultra Power Intensified. So we get to a point where these skills are, I say B tier skills. If you see a skill in like B tier and you're like, oh wait, but it's better than that. He's above what I think these skills are fine in B tier. I would say, at least the way I rank it in my head, B and A tier are skills that are okay, balanced, or they're strong and they don't really need any changes. You guys know me. I love plus ultra power intensify, but I can't get any higher than B tier. The skill itself is too short-lived. You have to combine it with another tuning skill to really make the most out of it. Whether it's getting your plus ultra or making it last longer, you have to go ahead and build it around something else. So I can't really put it any higher. There are all the revenge skills I feel like have value in different aspects that makes it where I feel like they're solid B tier picks. Extra damage, extra defense, extra speed, which you can also use for like wall running and stuff like that. But it's not that. It just increases your overall movement speed. Revenge Rapid. So don't sleep on that. I guarantee you guys, don't sleep on it. Revenge Tentacle, get your skills back a lot faster, which you really feel it in the battlefield. I'm going to show it off my Todoroki video. And Revenge Support. That passive healing comes in clutch, I guarantee. So, with that being said, let's move on to our next tier. So, going on to our A tier. This one is going to be longer. And this one is probably more interesting. You guys are probably more interested in this one because it has a lot of skills. And it has, funny enough, it has all the new skills. So, I have Dabi's self-res, or his, whatever, I forgot what it's called. Dabi, what's your skill called? Speedy Self-Revive. So I have Speedy Self-Revive, I have Speedy Civilian Rescue here, I have Symbol of Peace, I have Nejire's jumping skill, I have Ability Manifest, I have Tech Denki skill, I have Coda Finder, I have, I think that's a Ibarra skill I'm looking at, the chest one. Divine Protection, yep, Divine Protection. I have All For Ones, Old All For One. I have Old All For One special tuning skill here. I have Iron Fist, Sisterly here, Perception, Extra Wind, Acceleration, Young All For One tuning skill as well. And this one might be a surprising one. I put Space Hop in A tier. Now, my main idea for a lot of these skills, they are super strong in this tier and they don't really need any changes. But what I would specifically want to talk about are the newer tuning skills, and I want to talk about Space Hop. Some of you guys are probably seeing Space Hop in A tier and you're probably losing your mind. So I do want to take time to go and talk about that a little bit. So let's start off with Space Hop because that's real quick and easy. I took Space Hop down a tier because last season I had it in the next tier. I took it down a tier because of the simple fact that there are a lot of characters, or no, I won't say a lot of characters, but there's a lot of ways that people are coming up with to counter Space Hop. So whether you're playing One For All Deku, for an example, and you can just auto track to my location with your Gamma, or you could use your Alpha to knock me out the air. Hawks, he has Alpha Tornadoes that makes it very easy for him to smack people in the air, so you can't really use the Space Hop strat against him. And even All For One himself pretty much makes it where he can attack people very easily with his Gamma, or he could use, his special action to go ahead and knock you down. Now, I know that won't really affect your Space Hop, but he doesn't really struggle in attacking you in the air if you use a Space Hop. And I'm sure that there are other characters who could also, attack you just as easy. So, with that in mind, it's like, Space Hop is still a very, very, very strong skill. I just don't know if I would have it in A tier. Now, as for the newer tuning skills, let's go ahead and talk about it's All For One, which I should be able to pull it up here, right? Yeah, Quirk Factor Release. I have this in A tier mainly because of the simple fact that this skill, while I do think it is very strong because it pretty much just, doubles your reload time, so it makes your skills come back much, much faster, or twice as fast. The cooldown on it is why I can say with confidence that I could go ahead and put this skill in A tier. And I think that's fine. I think that is totally fine. It doesn't need to sit up and have no cooldown whatsoever. Having a cooldown is great. So when you get that guard break, your skills come back twice as fast, super strong, makes it very easy for you to go ahead and try to confirm kills in that time, in that time limit. So I think it's a very good skill, very strong, but I don't know if I would really put it in S tier. As for acceleration, which I'm on Deku, so we can't even really look at it. Let's switch to somebody else. As for acceleration, though, I think that skill in itself is fine as is as well. Get a melee off, increase your movement speed. It goes on cooldown. You put this skill on the right character, and you can absolutely shred somebody or have just totally insane movement. So with that in mind, it's like I can't put it in S tier because of the cooldown, but thank goodness there's a cooldown on it, because imagine if they were just infinitely moving faster all over the map. That'd be ridiculous. This skill deserves to be an A tier and no higher, no lower. It's a very strong skill. I want to use this skill more often. Very, very good. And then finally, I'm gonna go back to Deku just in case. We have to go and talk about Extra Wind. So with Extra Wind, I was trying to decide how I wanted to rank it, because the one skill I immediately compared it to was, funny enough, Crushing plus Ultra Charge. So the reason why I would have to go and put this one in A tier instead of S tier is because there he is. It's because of the simple fact that this one is very dependent on you. Let's see, it's dependent on you playing a much more passive fighting style. And for some, that is good, don't get me wrong. But you're going to be limited by level ups, if that makes sense. So I'll estimate like, 9, 10 cards. Max out your plus ultra. Good, that's great. But now to do that, you have to go and pretty much make your other skills weaker, or keep your other skills at a weaker level so you can get more plus ultra out of the match. Now, depending on who you're playing as, you can make that work, totally. But it's just that there's restrictions with Extra Wind that Crushing plus Ultra Charge, which I still have in S tier by the way, doesn't really have. With this one, the only restriction, get a KO. That's a pretty simple, pretty low restriction compared to Extra Wind, where you have to change the way you play to make the most out of this skill. Collect cards first. Maybe you can max out one of your skills, but keep your other two quirk skills at very low levels so you can get more plus ultra. And by the time you get to the end of the match, assuming you'll be maxed out by that point, it's gonna, you won't really be able to go ahead and use this skill by end game to really get more plus ultra, unless you're just sitting on cards and you haven't used your plus ultra yet. So with that in mind, although I think this is a very great skill, a very strong skill, I can't really put it anything higher than A tier. So with that being said, every other skill here I think is pretty reasonable, pretty self-explanatory. And with that being said, let's hop on to our final tier, S tier. Okay, so in S tier, I have GP Sucker, HP Sucker, Full Burn, Reinforced Revive, plus Ultra Turbo, Wall Runner, High Speed Replenishment, Card Duplication, Crushing plus Ultra Charge, Muscle Form, Willpower, Embrittlement, Transflow, Fixer, and Critical Permeation. I feel like I will talk about some of these skills, because some of these skills, people might be might be questionable on. I put GP Sucker in here. I start off with that one because a lot of people probably look at GP Sucker and think, oh, this skill is bad, but then it restores much GP. You're still getting like what, 95 to 100 GP from this if you can get a KO. I think I feel the difference on the battlefield. I don't know about you guys. It may not restore as much as HP Sucker, but I still think it is a S tier skill, because all you have to do is get a down. You don't even have to confirm your kill. Get a down, you get some of your shield back. That is so handy, especially in games where people are hyper aggressive and they're waiting for you to go for an execution or something, or they're waiting for you to heal. This skill takes that time out the way and allows you to stay on the move and keep moving. HP Sucker, I told you, Full Burn, it increases the duration of your plus ultra. Like that right there is super strong, because then now you're doing such big damage for longer periods of time. Not to mention you could combine this with skills like Extra Wind, Crushing plus Ultra Charge, Symbol of Peace, or if you can find ways to last longer in the match where your plus ultra can be active naturally, then you can combine this with something like plus ultra power intensified and just do big damage for longer periods of time. So I had to put that here. Reinforce Revive, give your allies shields so they can hop right back into the fight when you revive them. Absolutely great, and almost a must-have on any of your instant revive characters. Plus Ultra Turbo for that skill. This skill is giving you Wall Runner and plus Ultra Gauge while for just simply downing an opponent. That is strong in my opinion. My only real request for this skill, maybe increase the plus ultra rate from 5% to 10%. And honestly, this skill will be just golden. Next, wall runner, simple skill, allows you to run on walls. I've seen so many people make use of this with characters like Overhaul, Todoroki, Deku, you name it. This skill is an all-around great skill. Card duplicate, no, not card duplication. Next is high speed replenishment. I can't stand this skill right now. I can't stand this skill because of a certain other skill. But with that, if we're not talking about that skill right now, we're talking about high speed replenishment. This skill makes it where you can recover your GP in half the time that it would take to normally, use a GP item. I think that's great. It's easy to go ahead and use, cuts the time in half, allows you to go ahead and quickly move or get back in the fight if needed. Next is card duplication, which I can see people arguing about this one with being, S tier or not, but like if you get a KO with this skill, I'm in hero slot. I need to go to, here we go. If you can use this skill, get a KO, and get those 4 cards, it changes how fast you level up so quickly. Not to mention, imagine combining this skill with extra wind. That sounds like a very good combination to me. Next is Crushing plus Ultra Charge, which, as I said to you guys in the A tier, yeah, this skill gives you 20% of your plus ultra your plus ultra gauge for in return a very low restriction, just simply KOing an opponent. So with that in mind, it's like I still would have to have this skill in S tier and over extra wind. Next is Muscle Form, which for Muscle Form, I would have to go and say this one's S tier because not only are you getting your shield back from plus ultra, but you are also getting HP for just activating plus ultra and hyper armor. This skill has clutched up for me a lot of times just due to the extra HP and the hyper armor that it gives me. I have to put it in S tier. Next up in my list is Willpower. Literally, it helps you survive fatal blows. Now, I'll admit, if you want to bring this skill down a tier, I would understand it, because I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen Willpower being as strong recently. I don't know if it's bugged. I don't know if they, shadow nerfed it or anything. But recently, I see the skill proc one time, but I would never see it proc more than one time, at least recently. So if they shadow nerf that skill, please let me know in the comments. I'm not fully sure, and I would love to know so I know for future reference. Next up on my list is Embrittlement. Embrittlement, everyone loves Embrittlement, especially our rapid Dekus, especially me. Defense down on your opponent, we hit them with a melee attack. Need I say more? That skill, and to my knowledge, at least last time I used it, it has no cooldowns. There are no cooldowns on it. You can constantly keep your opponent in a defense down state and just put out even more damage. You combine that with skills that, increase your overall attack power like HP, melee, GP, alpha, and so on. You're really putting the hurt on your opponent. Next skill, Trance Blow. Oh my god, I think we can all agree. If you're fighting this skill, you hate it. you hate fighting this skill. If you're using it, you love it, you love it, you love it. This skill literally slows you down and makes it where it is very hard for you to dodge your opponent. On characters like Rapid Deku, Auto Tracking Gamma, or on any character for that matter who has a harder time landing their skills, I won't say harder time, but it makes it just so much easier for you to land your skills. As long as you're not using a skill that's like, that requires multiple hits, this skill is like a must-have or a go-to for a lot of your characters if you can land a melee. That's a big if you can land your melee. Next in line, Fixer. Can you believe people try to go and downplay this skill? Can you guys believe it? I've heard people be like, oh, this skill's not that good. Oh, this Fixer's selling. What? I'm going to say it again, like I said in my Chaco video. What are you guys talking about? This skill single-handedly made the game developers change how tuning works. Need I say more? Like, let's say this was a purple slot right here. Every single skill in this slot is getting maxed out. So I would have more GP attack power. I would have more HP. I'll have more HP on myself and more gamma attack power. I would have more alpha attack power and alpha reload speed. I would have freaking double the melee attack power. I would also have more HP and faster reload on my special action. Fixer is a super powerful skill. I don't know why we're trying to downplay it, but hey, you know what? To each their own. Fixer's S tier. I don't know why. I don't know where else I would put it if it wasn't S tier. And with that being said, let's get over to our final tuning skill, Critical Permeation. I'm being honest with you guys. I need this skill nerfed. I need this thing nerfed. This thing is so freaking strong right now because it gives you invincibility, which that's not even the worst part of it. I think right now critical permeation is just fine as it is in terms of like how the skill overall functions. My main problem is people can heal in this while permeated. That is my problem, which goes back to why I said, high speed replenishment. I'll come back to it, later down the line and everything. People use high speed replenishment with this skill, or they use high speed replenishment with critical permeation, and they are nigh invincible. It is so hard to kill them. Like, literally, it's so hard to kill them. If you don't have an Abara or a Shigaraki, and your opponent is properly playing around their critical permeation, you can't kill them. Like, it is very, very difficult. I've seen Momos run it, Ochakos, Dekus, Bakugos. Just so many characters have the double purple slot build, regular purple and hero purple, and it just makes it where those characters are super hard to kill. I just need to make one simple change to critical permeation, because I would say it's probably the strongest skill right now, in the strongest special tuning skill in the game right now. Simply make it where you cannot heal while permeated. If they make it you can't, drink recovery drinks while permeated, the skill will be fine. It'll be balanced. It'll be A-okay. Because mind you can still use stuff like, revenge support to heal and stuff like that. But being able to fully restore your GP and HP while permeated is crazy. It feels like it's a little too much. So I would very much appreciate it if we could get that skill nerfed in the future. So, to go ahead and wrap up this special tuning tier list video, I just have to say what I think are like the best skills to use in this game. And I think what I'll do is I'll give you guys a skill I would say I think is best to use in each tier. So I would have to say D tier, probably your Yorozu skill, because even though it doesn't have a whole lot of value, being able to see it, I guess, into the future in a sense, to see where the storm's going to end at, you could theoretically use that to your advantage if you have a high HP character and go ahead and just heal your way, into that area of the storm and wait for the storm to come back in, and maybe that'll be enough time for you to go ahead and get a revive off, or to situate yourself so you can go ahead and hop back into the fight. As for C tier, I would probably say Indestructible. I feel like Indestructible right now is probably a underrated skill. I feel like it might be an underrated skill because getting armor for KOing an opponent, I could see value out of that, where you could use that to escape, or you could use that to fight even more on the battlefield. But I would also like to say you could probably make a recommendation for Quasi Permeation being the best in C tier, because Quasi Permeation, allows you to be invincible for the start of the match. The reason why I would say it's the best, because it's only for the start of the match. If you try to attack or anything like that, your permeation will end. So with that in mind, I don't think I would have it over Indestructible, because Indestructible you could use whenever, as long as you're KOing opponents, while Quantum Permeation you're stuck with that in the beginning of the match. As for B tier, I would say, quite honestly, any of the revenge skills, maybe besides Revenge Rapid. And the reason why is because while I do see value in Revenge Rapid, who has it again? Nope. Ochako. The reason why is because a lot of people probably look at this skill and think that it's, why use this skill when you have Wall Runner. Totally fair. I think if you were to combine this skill with, other speed related skills like acceleration, and I'm pretty sure there's more than that, but acceleration was the first thing that came to my mind. If you add it with other speed skills, I'm sure this skill can give you more value, but by itself, I couldn't really say, oh, hey, it's the best in there. That's iffy. Now, the other skills, like, Revenge Strike, Revenge Assault, Revenge Tech, and Revenge Support, all those have great value, I would say, and they'd be much more valuable to you on the battlefield when your guard breaks. So, those, I would say, they're interchangeable, but the Revenge skills are mainly what I'm saying is the best skills in B tier. As for A tier, I think I would have to go ahead and give that to Space Hop. I think I have to go give that to Space Hop, honestly. Space Hop, despite what I said about it being weaker this season due to just how, the meta has changed, I still think it is a very strong skill, especially if he's on the right characters like Tech Denki, Assault Shiggy, Young All for One. I can keep going. And then for S tier, Critical Permeation. The skill literally makes you invincible for a set amount of time, and it allows, and you can heal while invincible. Like, I gotta give that to Critical Perm for the time being. Maybe my opinion will change if they ever nerf the skill, but we have to wait and see. I'm hoping that they nerf that skill in the future. So, with that being said, I'm gonna let you guys see the tier list one more time, show it up on screen. This is, once again, my opinion. I don't know if I said that in the beginning, I probably didn't. It's my opinion. If you guys disagree with it, feel free to tell me about your opinions in the comments. With that being said, I'm gonna go and get on out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please be sure to smash that like button, the subscribe button, and those notification bells to stay up to date with everything on my channel. I'm gonna go and get on out of here and get working on the next video. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. See you later.